I'm going to teach you some tips and tricks in chess. So let's get started. The first thing I want to teach you about is queen checkmate. So let's say you're in the end game. Your opponent only has a king, but you have a king and a queen. Now your goal is to checkmate the king. So the first step is to make the king go to the last rank. You can choose this side or this side. So I'm going to force him to this side. So you're gonna move the queen to the first two cutoff. Now, let's say he moves here. You're gonna chase the king in a knight way, I guess. So like this, in an L shape. Except in the four corners. If it goes in the four corners, you do not do a L-shaped move. So now, let's say he moves here. You go there, he moves here, he moves here. He has to go up. Now, you're gonna go here. He can go here, here, or here. Let's say he goes here. Now he goes there. You keep on chasing in a nice position. He moves up. You keep on chasing until he reaches the last rank. Then you just do cutoff. Now the king's gonna go here. Then slowly bring up your king to do the checkmate. Now, once they're in opposition, you can just bring the queen here and checkmate. That's how you win with one queen in the endgame, with just two rooks. So, let's say your opponent has a king. Here, you have two rooks, and you have a king. Now, if you have two rooks, first you do cutoff, like this. So now, let's say the king comes here. You're gonna move your rook here, the king will kill it. So you decide to move it here. The king keeps on coming, but now you go check. Now the king goes back. You check again. He's coming, but you keep on checking until now you can't go there because he will kill you. So just go to this side now. Now the king's gonna go here. Move your other rook to the other side. Now the king's gonna chase you again. Now move your rook up, and the king will keep on trying to get you, but eventually you'll checkmate it, like this. You can replace one of the rooks or both the rooks with two queens, or one queen and one rook. If you use the same strategy, it's gonna work. But make sure you don't stalemate the king by not letting it move. That's the only problem with the queen. Checkmate with just one rook. So this is going to be your position. So the king's going to be there. And now the first step in checkmating with one rook is to do cutoff. So you're going to move your rook to the fourth rank. Now the king can't go back anymore. He can only go up and to the sides. Then you're going to chase your opponent king with your king. So let's say like this. Until you get opposition. Once you get opposition, move your rook up, and the king will have to move up a rank. Let's say it goes there. Then move your rook to the other side. He's going to try and follow. You can move your king up. Let's say it goes back that way. Keep moving your king. And now you got opposition. Then move up a rank. Now, let's say he goes there. You're going to bring your king over here. He goes there. You go here. He goes there. You go here. He goes there. You go here. He goes there. And now, move your rook to the other side. Now let's say he goes there. You just move here. Opposition. Now you move the rook back up, and he's gonna go there. Now you keep on chasing until you get opposition for the last time. And then you move this back a rank, and that's it. Checkmate. for a square, the pieces, and a move. So, as you know, all of these squares is an 8 by 8 grid. The ranks are ABCs and the columns or files are numbers. So, now, if you want to identify this square, you would go here. First is always going to be letters. So E4. So this square is E4. Now this square. This square is B4. This square is D2. So those are the square's positions. Now a knight is called N. The king is called K. The queen is called Q. The rook is called R. The bishop is called B. The pawns are going to be the location. So this pawn, so instead of saying P C3, we just say C3. Instead of saying P C6, we just say C6. So that is the notations of all the pieces and squares on the. If this pawn was going to kill this knight, what we're going to say is we're going to use the file name, which is F. So we're going to say F X E4. So if you say F X E4, that means the pawn killed the piece on E4. This piece, we will say N X E3. So NXE3 means the knight on here kills the thing on E3. Now, if there were two knights like this, and you wanted to use this knight to kill this but not this knight, you would record it as this. N F X E3. So that means the knight on the F file will capture the piece on the E3. If you want to take this rook on C6 using your bishop, you would say BXC6. That would mean the bishop will go capture the piece on C6. Now, there won't be like bishop FX C6 because there can't be the two same color bishops. One of them is either dark or white. Rook wanted to capture the bishop on F1, you would say RX F1. So that would mean rook will capture the bishop on F1. Now, if there were rooks like this and you wanted to use this rook, you would say RHX F1. That would mean the rook on the H file will capture the bishop on the F file. Now, I'm going to show you how to capture something with. Now, if the queen on G7 wanted to take the knight on D4, you would say queen X D4. That would mean the queen will capture the knight on D4. Now, if there were two queens, like shown, and you wanted this one to capture the rook, you would say Q H X D4. So that would mean the queen on the H file will capture the rook on the D file. Like that. Wanted to take the rook on E6. You would say KXE6. There won't be like KDXE6 because you can't have two kings in the game. Each side can only have one king. Now, there are some special symbols when you're going to record, like checking, checkmating, castling. I will cover those next. Capturing something, you would use the X symbol. So b x d5. That would mean the bishop will capture the piece on d5. Now, if you wanted to promote a piece, you would say g1 equals, so let's say I want a queen, q. I would say g1 equals rook. So you would do that for the bishop and represented by a hashtag. So this is a maiden one. Can you figure it out? The move is n(f6). Now the king is checkmated. So in order to record that, you would say n(f6) and then hashtag. Now, if I wanted to represent a check, you represent checks by using a plus sign. So if I had a bishop like this. Now if I move the bishop to e4, and it will be a check. So I would say b e4 and plus. That would mean b e4 check. Now I'm going to show you king side castling. Castling. There's two types of castling. King side castling to the right and queen side castling to the left. Now in order to castle, you must have these two spaces open. So I'm just going to do a quick playthrough. Okay, now the king can do kingside castling. In order to do that, you just place one circle, hyphen, and another circle. That would mean this. A king will do queenside castling. So let me do a quick playthrough. Now the queen side is fully open. So in order to do a queen side, you're going to move the king to 1, 2. You're going to put the rook on the other side of the king, like this. This, in order to represent this, it's 0, hyphen, 0, hyphen, 0. So you're just adding one more hyphen and one more. Now, if I want to move this pawn here, I would say g4. If I want to move this king here, I would say f2. No, I mean kf2. If I wanted to move the queen here, I would say queen h1. If I wanted to move my bishop here, I would say b2. If I wanted to move my knight here, I would say nd2. If I wanted to move my rook here, I would say ra4. So if you want to just move your piece and record it, you need to say the code, which is R, and then the square name. But for the pawn, it's just a square name. Scholar's Mate. Scholar's Mate is a 4-move checkmate, and it's pretty good. So it's e4. Let's say black does this move. bc4. Queen f3 or queen h5. And then queen x f7 checkmate. Now there are many ways to stop this. For example, you could have done this. Or you could have put your knight here. There's many ways to block it, but it's pretty good when the opponent doesn't know Scholar's Mate. So the another mate I'm gonna show you is called Fool's Mate. Name. It's a very foolish checkmate. So the first move of white is gonna be f3, and then e6, g4. Now you bring the queen here and checkmate. You can do this a different way, so that white first does e6, then they do f6, and then let's say white does this, they go there, you bring your queen and do a checkmate. This is a mate in 3, but in black's side it's a mate in 2. This is the fastest checkmate ever discovered. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell for more videos like this one. See you